how do we approach and treat fighters in a way that really makes it a fighter-first league?
Fighter has to be pushed. He had to put fire behind him and fucking burn his ass for the best to come out of him. You can't be fucking treat him like a baby. You can't pamper him. That was a good fight. Oh, I love. No, nigga. You gotta work. You gotta pull your own weight.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Hotboxin. I'm Evan Britton.
And I'm Mike Tyson.
Mike, we got a couple of great guests today, brother.
This is a really interesting
we
show
got
today. Yeah,
Donn Davis and Ray Sefo of the Professional Fighters League.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for being here, guys.
You guys have this is pretty exciting what you guys have going on. So tell everybody what the PFL is and what you guys are getting ready to do.
Yeah, sure. This is the second season of the Professional Fighters League, and we're on ESPN Thursday nights, prime time. The Professional Fighters League is, think of March Madness meets MMA, but it's a real meritocracy. No promoter, no executive decide who's going to win or who's going to fight. This is all about the fighters, meritocracy, and transparency. So it's like any other sport. Football.
No, explain that. What do you mean? So the fighter's going to say, do they do this? I want to fight that guy.
Yes.
You guys make the fight.
Yeah, so in football or basketball right now, maybe we'd all wish LeBron was in the finals, but he lost. Okay, so in the PFL, 72 fighters start the season. We have 6 weight classes, 5 men and 1 women. There's 12 fighters in each weight class. They get to fight twice in the regular season. The top 8 make the playoffs, and it's all based upon
So is this more
merit.
like a tournament?
Well, no, think of it as a season.
Ideology?
Yeah, think of it as a season, like other sports, regular season, playoffs, and championship. So if you do the best in the regular season...
How many fights a season?
Yeah, you get 2 fights in the regular season. Each fighter fights twice. You qualify for the playoffs. So the top 8 in each weight class make the playoffs. So once again, like March Madness, the 8 seed will fight the 1 seed. The 7 seed will fight the 2 seed.
How long do you wait in between fights to fight?
So normally there's about 45 days in between fights.
Yeah.
So you'll fight, the regular season is May through August. You'll fight twice as a fighter. The playoffs are in October. What's interesting about the playoffs, Mike,
Twice a month?
No, you'll fight, once in May and once in August if you're a fighter in the regular season.
Okay.
But here's what you like. And Mike, you never did this as a fighter, and you did almost everything as a fighter. The playoffs are you have to fight twice and win twice in the same night to make the championship.
I've done that in tournaments as a kid. In some tournaments, you have to fight
amateur
3 times.
boxing, that's right.
You have to fight 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but in the commission rules, an MMA fight is 5 rounds of 5 minutes, so 25 minutes. So obviously, if we had the quarterfinals and the semifinals 45 days apart, and then the championship 45 days apart, nobody could remember who's fighting or why. You'd give up on it as a fan. So what we did is the quarterfinals and semifinals are the same night in each weight class. So you'll fight 2 rounds of 5 minutes. The winner will go back, get retaped, rechecked by the commission, MRI or X-ray if you need it. You have to get re-cleared and come back out, and then you'll fight your semifinal fight. So you have to fight twice, win twice, same night in October.
Me and Eben fight, right? Eben wins, but Eben fucked up. Now he can't fight, so what happens then?
It happened once last year.
Yeah, it did. And if Evans not clear to fight, then Mike, you would take his spot.
I got concussed. I was fucked up. Mike up.
Yeah, right. And then I gotta go get fucked up again. That's not how it works.
Now for $1 million, right, you might do that.
No, but $1 million is a totally different situation. I look at life totally different for $1 million.
Right.
But look, it only happened once last year. We had a fighter, broke his hand, wasn't cleared, couldn't come back, and therefore, under the rules, the person who he lost came in. Now it's interesting.
That's how UFC started. Like a tournament style, we fight 3 times a day, 4 times a day.
Right.
And the championship's like a tournament base. You go to semis, you go to quarters, semis, and finals. Remember how they used to do that stuff?
Yeah, back in the day where there was no rules to that.
Yeah, that was too long. Yeah, stuff like that is just too grueling.
Too long. But look, we started the Professional Fighters League for fans and for fighters. And it's pretty simple. There's 300 million MMA fans.
There's a lot of money out there for everybody.
Yeah, look, there's all these
kind.
fans, and they only have had one choice. Watch kind of the UFC or nothing else. And if you're a fighter, you've only had kind of one choice or 2 choices, maybe Bellator or UFC. So if you're a fan, this is an alternative for you to watch. If you're a fighter, this is an alternative place where you have more control and more upside monetarily. So, just like everything, we all don't wear the same shoes. We all don't have the same beer. We all don't have the same water. This is just another choice in the marketplace of MMA.
Absolutely. How many fighters do you guys have?
Ray, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this year, because there's 12 fighters per division,
Okay.
and the weight classes from 145 to 265, which is featherweight. And then this year we've added a women's lightweight division. And then the women's lightweight division, we only have 8 fighters there. So this year I think there's a total of 68 fighters. Last year was a total of 72 plus alternates. So roughly about.
Why don't you get Chris Cyborg? We had her there. She doesn't have a contract with anybody. She's just lost a great fight, but she can come back. Everybody can come back.
Yeah, you're right. But I think Chris Cyborg, well, I don't think. I know that she's under contract to UFC. She still has a contract at UFC. As a matter of fact, she has a fight.
So what do you think? They're shelving her? They're shelving her? They're not using her?
I don't know what she. I mean, she had a tough loss in the last fight. So I think.
But fighting is so unpredictable.
Right.
You can knock me out, right? And then you get knocked out with him, he becomes the greatest, and then I come and I beat him.
Yep.
It's weird. It's so unpredictable.
We've seen that happen a million times.
Well, look, in MMA, there's even more ways to win or lose, right? Because there's 6 disciplines in boxing.
Right.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of people. And look, and back to Chris Cyborg, she's got one more fight. And then we saw yesterday on ESPN, she said she's going to talk to all organizations, probably including the PFL. So we look forward to anybody who's a free agent exploring their options.
That's awesome.
From fighting, what I experienced from fighting, and this is why the UFC is very successful. You know what I mean? You have to have the best fight the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to be evenly matched for people to be, anticipated,
Yeah.
Sometimes you watch boxing, these guys are so mismatched. The best fighters won't fight the best fighters because of promotional grudges between other companies and stuff.
Right.
And so the greatest, best fighters never get a chance to fight each other.
Yeah, but look, there was something interesting that happened in PFL 3 last week. So we have Johnson, who was 10-0 fighter. He's our only undefeated fighter, Mike. And he was 4-0 in the UFC. He left the UFC because he wanted an opportunity to make money for his family. He was very vocal that, he wasn't making enough money. Well, you know what happened in his first fight?
What?
He got his ass kicked in the PFL last week.
Wow.
So a lot of people said, hey, how good are the PFL fighters? Well, we just signed our only undefeated UFC fighter, and he got his ass kicked in his first outing.
Yeah.
So back to the depth of great fighters in the world. Remember, there's 1,500 pro MMA fighters in the world, and we've got fighters from 14 countries. So if people don't think that there aren't great fighters in the PFL, man, they're out of their mind.
Right.
Come watch what happens.
So why can't your
on
guys
this
do
thing.
this? I don't know, maybe because it's promotional. But listen, I'm not trying to be a braggart and stuff. But this is I put it in this perspective. This is what my trainer did. All right, he took me and he said, "Hey, I have the best fighter in the world. He's 15. If you don't believe me, somebody beat him. Can you do that in Ultimate Fighting MMA?" I got the best fighter. It's almost like putting him on the chopping block. Boom, he's in the ring. Somebody throw their hat in. Can anybody beat him?
Yeah. So are you suggesting,
yeah,
as a brilliant marketer that you are, that UFC and Bellator and PFL each put up some fighters and see
Yes.
who's the best? Is that
Yes.
is that your brilliant marketing idea, which I endorse?
We can even make it better. If you beat him, I give you $1 million.
I'll do that. The
If you beat
PFL will
my-
put up. The PFL.
If you
will put
beat
up
my
that.
fighter, I give you $1 million. That's what my trainer will do. If you're in training and you become my trainer, we get the best fighters. The best. If you knock him out, I give you $100,000.
Yeah.
He's only 15. If you knock him out, and these
Yeah.
are men.
Well, I'll tell you. If people didn't say you were only a fighter, we'll now name you head of marketing for MMA Global, right? For all 3 organizations.
But that's putting your money where your mouth's at, and we're gonna see. Are you the best fighter of the world? If I'm the best fighter in the world, I'm saying that's $1 million, and he's fighting the way I fight. This is how I fight. And the way I fight, nobody on the planet could beat me. I'll take that $1 million. That'll be nothing.
So I'll tell you what. Just because we're so excited to be on your
Yeah.
show, here's what we'll sign up for, and then you just got to get Dana White at UFC and Scott Coker at Bellator to sign up for it.
Mike will get it done.
Yeah, once we get our champions from the 2019 season of the PFL, we'll put up our champions, and they can put up their champions, and we'll put up $1 million for each weight class.
Let's go.
Hey, whoa!
Let's go.
There we go, guys. And listen, by the way, hey,
And we'll even name it in
Dana
honor of
White,
you. The Mike
Scott
Tyson
Coker.
Challenge.
Hell yeah, dude.
hey, listen, that'd be beautiful. I like that as well. But listen, let's showcase your fight. Let's show us what the world has to worry about.
Let's see it.
This is what the world has to worry about.
So in this, while fans are watching, they can actually go and score points, right? Or score the fight.
There's two things very innovative about the PFL that we've done for fans. First of all, we've all gotten used to seeing data analytics, particularly if you're young, under 30, you love to
Yes.
watch it on your mobile phone. So the PFL is the first to ever wire the cage. We call it the smart cage. And the data that comes from it, we call cageonomics. So we put chips in the gloves. It's with the fighter's consent, and we also got the commission approval. So those chips relay real-time data that we put on the screen. So far what we put on the screen is punch impact. How hard did that punch land? So last week in PFL, there was a 30.8 mile an hour punch. Pretty serious punch. Not your kind of punch, but you could do way more than that, but pretty serious MMA punch with those light gloves. We also display, obviously, strikes and takedowns. And then coming later this year, we have something called the burn, which talks about calories and energy output. Because nobody would believe that an MMA fighter, if you do a 5-round, 25-minute fight, more calories burned than an NBA athlete in a full 48-minute game. So the kind of things that we'll be showing in terms of analytics, super interesting. If you're not really an MMA fan, but you're a stick and ball sport fan, gives you context. You know what the heck's going on in the fight. And then obviously later this year, as gambling is approved in more states, those become interesting prop bets that on your mobile phone you could say, hey, I'm going to bet on what's the hardest punch in this round. And you could do that for additional engagement as a fan.
We should also in the future maybe one day put a brain or put a rib or put a heart or put a shoulder and show the impact of what the impact does when they hit the
a great
brain, the
idea.
heart, the shoulder, the ribs.
Great idea.
Has anyone collected that data?
Well, we collect
Force
that.
of impact?
Now, look, we collect that data, and as Ray knows, we also share it with the individual fighters if they ask to help them train. It'll become more available to themselves. Now, it's only individually available to them themselves, and we just use it, obviously, for the fan experience. And then
Here's
the
your
business
top
experience.
10 knockouts of the PFL 2018.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Boom!
shit. Oh. He look like a street fighter, man. This guy's a street fighter right here. He's a street fighter. He's buck
Ray
from
Ray
the
Cooper
hood.
came out of nowhere. I mean, he's from
Who?
Hawaii, but he's a beast.
Hey, man.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so Ray discovered Ray Cooper, and he's back this year. He lost in the finals. It was a big upset in the finals, but he's a favorite this year, in particular fan favorite. He's just got a huge right hand.
Yeah. Ray, are you in charge of the fighters and picking them and
Yes,
being the
that's
liaison between the league?
yes, that's correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Mike, you love stories. So this Ray Cooper you see on the screen, the Hawaiian.
Yes.
So his dad, Ray Cooper Jr., lost to Jake Shields.
Yes.
And
Guy
Ray,
they was fighting?
yes, and Ray Cooper, the son, saw that when he was 8 years old, cage side, and he came back to avenge his father's loss in that fight.
Oh, so he be the old motherfucker then, man.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be the young guy. He be the old ass nigga, man.
So Ray Cooper III beat Jake Shields into retirement to avenge his dad.
This guy's oh no, don't hurt him.
Oh, fuck.
This is the Sweden Denzel Washington lookalike.
Well, this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
So Cy is an assassin, Mike, and it's also Todd Gurley, who's a big fan of PFL. He was at PFL 1. That's
Who's
his
the guy
favorite
here?
fighter.
Bradley,
Really?
Bradley, the man. Ooh.
Well, I saw you guys have Boss Rutan. Love Boss.
Baz and Randy.
Yeah,
Couture.
Randy Couture.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome too.
Two
them
legends.
guys. But they got an experience. They know the
Right.
fighters when
Yeah.
they see them.
Yeah.
The excited ones, the ones that are gonna bring the fans to the stadiums and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful stuff right there.
It's great fighting,
Now,
fellas.
interesting, you're showing the highlights from last year. We should note that we only invited back 36 of the 72 fighters, 50%. We upgraded 50% of the roster back to that supply and demand of fighters. There's about 200 free agents every year around the world.
Wow.
And we had a big demand to get into PFL this year. Ray did a selection show, which we ran on ESPN.
Dope.
And it was very cool. It's an hour show, and reviewed tape, upgraded the roster in all those divisions.
That's awesome. So how do you guys do it?
I gotta tell you. Oh wait, hey, we got
No defense in there. There's just like rock'em sock'em robots.
So Mike, we got to tell you something about Sean O'Connell. See
Yes.
this guy in the top?
Yes.
So
He has awesome tattoos.
Yeah, his
he
tats
awesome.
are crazy.
Well, here's what's even crazier.
Glows and shit.
So he was an underdog in all 4 of his fights last
Yeah.
year, and he ended up winning the $1 million
Wow.
and retiring in the middle of the ring. And this year he's our color commentator
Oh, shit.
on ESPN.
I was
That's
getting ready to
awesome.
say he need to get in shape a little though. You
Yeah.
know, he got to get in better shape.
Yeah, but he came out.
Oh.
And we did a special on Sean also on ESPN, which you should watch, called
Ooh.
Through the Eyes of Champions.
Yeah.
And Sean said, Mike, when he looked at his opponent across the ring, he goes, he's bigger than me, he's smarter than me, he's faster than me, and he's
Wow.
black belted everything. And you know what I thought? I've got this guy. And he did. And he won that $1 million.
Oh, that's
Fucking
beautiful. The
sick,
$1 million, nigga. Shit. Oh God,
Oh,
this poor
shit.
bastard. Oh, isn't that
Done.
So Ray, isn't Tiller the guy whose mom comes to every fight?
Yeah, his fighting name is Mama's Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom is his biggest supporter. She's like around the cage, just jumping up and down, yelling.
When you look at all of the greatest generals in history and stuff, like Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Charlemagne, they're all mama's boys.
right.
Interesting.
Caesar too, they're all mama's
Isn't
boys.
that interesting?
Scared of their mother and stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So,
I was very afraid of my mother. I said I was very afraid of my
Yeah,
mother.
that's strange.
Dude,
Some boys, those
my
are the
mom used
aggressive
to
ones.
beat my ass
very afraid
with
of
a
their
wiffle
mothers.
ball bat. Yeah, because I was bigger than her at about 8. My mom's 5'2".
All right, let's look at this one. This is a good one. Oh, let's see this.
Jumping knee.
Oh man, come on, man! You guys gotta get.
You miss it.
This is too easy, man. You guys gotta get some more fighters in there. We gotta get these guys to compete with these. Oh God,
you never took a flying knee, did you?
never in my life. Wouldn't want to.
Boy, those look bad.
It does look
Yeah,
not
that's
good.
fucking not good.
We had a flying knee in 2 weeks ago that was #1 highlight on SportsCenter. First time SportsCenter had a #1 highlight from MMA. And
That's
it,
right.
PFL. Huh?
PFL was a flying knee, 10
Oh.
seconds into a fight, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
Guys, okay? That's the first thing you see when a
Yeah,
flying
that's
knee
good.
is. You go, wow, that's a great knockout, and I hope he's okay.
Here go Cooper again. Come on, let's see you protect daddy. That's him fighting a Hawaiian guy, right?
Yep, that's Ray Cooper the third.
Well, that's Cooper, the Hawaiian guy, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. He's
Pablo.
a strong guy. He's really strong and cop.
Pavel Kush from Ukraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And also young. Ray's only 25, 26, which is very young in MMA.
it's a child.
Ferocious.
Yeah, vicious, consistent, constant.
He's almost like a little MMA Mike Tyson there.
Yeah, that's how you gotta be.
Yeah, for
ferocious,
sure.
perpetual.
It's good stuff, guys.
So, Mike, as you look at this MMA, do you think if you were coming up now as a 12, 13-year-old that you'd box, or might you
It
experiment with this
depends
MMA?
on how much money I was getting. You know, whoever was making the most money. Listen,
But assume that there were even money. Assume it was equal money.
Definitely. I don't know. It would be difficult. It was different. I just don't know.
Don't know.
That's weird. You know.
Well, because, MMA
Different
wasn't...
time, different era.
That's what I'm saying. It's a different era.
Yeah.
Right.
I just wonder if any part of this MMA appealed to you as a,
Oh,
as a fighter
listen.
and an athlete.
Listen, when I first saw it, I couldn't believe it. When I first saw it happen, I said, "Whoa!" I called you, man. Did you see that fucking shit? I said, and then we started watching it all the time. We never stopped. When Dan Severance and those guys were
Right,
there, Kim
yeah.
Shamrock, I said, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. And I had to just keep watching this stuff. There's no way you're not gonna watch this.
Look at that
stuff.
flying knee. So what's shocking
Probably
about this
broke
one,
his fucking leg when he went down.
so that's Alex Nicholson, who's back this year. What's he's a heavyweight. So to do a flying knee at 265,
Look at a
this.
monster. Boom. It's a big.
I mean, it's one thing to be a lightweight. It's another thing to execute that thing at 265.
It's brutal.
You know, man, it's just incredible what the human body can do
It's unbelievable.
and what it can
You
endure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I love this. So this is Nicholson again.
Yeah. Oh.
So watch this though.
Uh-oh.
Keep watching, you'll be surprised.
He's aggressive.
Too aggressive. Watch.
Oh,
there it is.
got caught coming in. He didn't have good defense.
That's right. So he was.
You gotta always be careful when you got somebody hurt. That's when they're most dangerous.
Exactly.
So see that cut?
Yeah.
He had about 20 stitches.
Boom! On the jaw, right on the jaw. He
Yeah.
didn't see it coming either.
So Ray and I were both sitting there. That fight was
Yeah.
about 10 seconds from being called because of those 20 stitches over the eye, and he got too aggressive. And look at this.
Yeah.
Doesn't see it coming.
Wow.
To me, I don't know about you, Ray. That was the most shocking fight I saw all last year. 'Cause
Well,
it just was out of nowhere.
But
know
the
what?
thing is, with heavyweights, anything can happen.
Yeah. And know why else? Because it was this is resounding. The punch was so resounding. You didn't anticipate it. It was nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be
And
seen.
boom!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the point. Like, what the fuck happened? It's almost like magic.
Oh, look at this. There's a great story behind this. This is the championship, first fight of our championship.
Oh shit.
So this was the most money made in combat sports last year per second. So see that? That's Lewis Taylor.
Oh, take that back to your corner.
So that's 30 seconds into the fight, Mike, and he earned $1 million for that.
Wow.
Now, obviously, you can out-earn him in your prime, but in MMA, that's big money. So, so Lewis Taylor is 39 years old, and he was an underdog in that fight, and he comes out, and what I loved is, and we probably can't pull it up there, what he said after the fight. So he brought up his wife and his 2 kids, Mike, and in front of the whole crowd, he goes, I don't need no fancy car. And honey, the house is paid off. Here he is. And baby, I got enough money for both of you to go to college. And that's what I'm doing with $1 million.
That's beautiful.
And that's what the PFL is about. It's the American dream. I'm an entrepreneur building the PFL. This is about providing fighters an opportunity. What they do is up to them. It's not up to Ray. It's not up to me. If they win, they advance. And if they advance, they get $1 million, and that changes their life. And the PFL is like, is just about opportunity. And that's what we love building this thing. And we love building as a company, and we love help building the sport.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
I was up here with Ray. I was here with LL Cool J yesterday, right? And know what he said something to me that I lost concept sometimes because I get so competitive. I want to win and everything. And he said some people just want a regular life. Some people are just very simple people. You know, being a fighter, you get caught up with so much grandeur and stuff, and you want the excitement and all that stuff. And then there's some people, like you're saying, some people are just ordinary people, don't want nothing.
They just want a job.
And sometimes I have no concept for that. All my life I would talk about the world is yours. You know what I mean? I look at the planet now, when I look at the picture of the planet, and I say to my life, God, how much of that do you want to chip out for yourself? How much time do you have to do it? You know, in a situation like this, you can say that in this situation. How much of the world we want to chisel out? Can this organization chisel out part of the world for us? And I look at my life in that perspective. What are we going to do? Is our cannabis company, our Tyson Ranch, is it going to chip out a part of the world for us? And I always look at it in positive perspective. Yes, it is, because I see the greatness in it.
Yeah. I know. That was really interesting to hear him talk about that as well. Because I'm like that too, Mike. I'm thinking, how many people's lives am I going to change? How many people am I going to impact for the better? What can I do with my time here?
Exactly.
I'm always
think that
dreaming for, stratospheric success and, paradigm shifting impact. But to think, a lot of people, they just want to be able to take care of their kids, send their kids to college, put food on the table. Not stress about bills and taxes and all the fucking shit that we have to deal with. It's a good reminder.
Yes. I believe our situation, like us being able to comprehend the reality that we have to deal with our immortality one day.
Yeah.
It must frighten people, because I get at a certain age, you get 50 and you say, wow, it's almost over. When you look at it in the perspective that I was born and now I'm 50 and whoa, is it possible I won't be another 50? This is almost over. What do I do now? In a minute, there's nothing I can do. It can't stop it. Oh shit, it's continuing to go as I speak, as I breathe. The seconds are moving. What do I do? It's going to come.
Yeah, but that reminds me what that reminds me what we were talking about before the show. The tagline of the PFL is, what do you fight for? And to be alive is to fight for something.
Exactly.
Whether you're 54, I'm 57, right?
35.
We're all 35. We're all different ages.
35.
And look,
I'm fucking 31. What am I talking about?
31. But look, you're either
35.
fighting for money, for ego, for fame, for a house, for love. We're all fighting for something different. And that could change as you get older.
Exactly.
What you're fighting for now is different from when you were 19.
There's no doubt about it.
But if you're not fighting for something, you're not alive anymore.
No.
And it just changes over time.
I love that, guys.
Exactly. Right now, I'm fighting to be the best I could possibly be in life as a human being.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even in whatever differences I have, I did have with people, that's a wrap, man. It's almost over. Let's see what we could build in this world, what we could leave behind.
Your word build is interesting also. A lot of people aren't builders. They're managers. Or they just want to take care of what's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like they go work at IBM. You know, because it's there, right?
9 to 5.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, and other people are builders, want to do something new, hadn't been there before. You know, and to me, that's also the fun. You know, so look what you're doing. This is your third or fourth or fifth career.
Absolutely.
Right? You're building, right? You know, this is my sixth or seventh career. PFL didn't exist 2 years ago, right? Everybody said the UFC is the NFL. Why even do this? Well, it's not unassailable like the NFL. We think there's a better way for fans and fighters, so we're trying to do it,
Yeah.
But that's because we're builders. We're just crazy enough, right, to think there's a better way. Mm-hmm. And if you're a builder, if you're a disruptor, you got to sit there and say, you know what, I want to do something a little different. I don't like things the way they are.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a different approach to the world.
How's Brock Lesnar's contract? How's that looking? Is
he coming to the PFL?
I have no idea.
That's what you need to have. That's what you need to have. Listen,
Brock?
Listen, this is how it works, all right? Listen, I'm probably talking too much, but this is how the game plays. The game is known in this. When we have competitive organization, you have to have people on the streets knowing what's going on in the business. Who's content? Yes, it's word of mouth. It's the easiest thing in the world to find out if we're all in the same cahoots and stuff. You know what I mean?
I think the best part of the show is all this work that Mike's going to do for the PFL post the show. Right. That is just the best part about being here.
It's just, you guys are young in this. You guys really, this is how stuff is made. You know what I mean? Everybody's not happy. It's where they at, and we have to just, what's the word that?
Your mic is fresh.
All right, thank you. The word that we have to fulfill our lives. That's the word I'm looking for. We have to fulfill our lives. People are disgruntled workers at other league. They need to have their life fulfilled. You need to have your life together. We can fulfill each other's lives, and that's how the world has worked. That's how it always worked. That's how it worked with Vanderbilt. That's how it worked with Rockefeller. That's how it worked with Carnegie. That's how they would all work together, but still worked apart. They were enemies. Rockefeller and Carnegie, they despised one another. I believe it was the guy Pat Glass was his name. I think eventually he committed suicide over some incident that he believed was caused by Mr. Rockefeller, and they always were enemies. That's what I learned on The Men That Built America.
That's a good show.
Oh, I love that show. That inspires me so much.
Yeah.
That Rockefeller had to get a loan from. He had to get the train. He had to put the oil. He had to put the oil, and he didn't have enough oil for Mr. Vanderbilt, but he told him he did. And he went to church and prayed and prayed and prayed, and they hit a fucking guy. And then he had enough. But he didn't have enough product, enough oil at first to put on his trains.
It's crazy.
Loved his way through it.
It's amazing.
So, hey, so you've been around fighting 30 years. So what's your advice for us? We're trying to be a fighter-first league. We treat them better in several ways. They have a guaranteed number of fights, little opportunity to make more money, their own control. But from your perspective, because you got real history, right? You've been in and around everything.
Yeah.
How do we approach and treat fighters in a way that really makes it a fighter-first league? How would you think about that?
Listen, this is what I must tell you about fighters. A fighter has to be pushed. He had to put fire behind him and fucking burn his ass for the best to come out of him. You can't be fucking treat him like a baby. You can't pamper him. That was a good fight. Oh, no, nigga. We gotta work. You gotta pull your own weight. But from pugilist perspective, excuse me. And that's how you get paid. You win, you get paid. The more you win, the more money you fucking get. And that's just how it goes in life. Yep. If you lose, You may not get as much money, but it depends how you lose. If you lose in a sensational fight, you may get the same amount of money or even more, because more people may fucking come. You know, that's just how it is.
Right.
You know, you don't take a bunch of guys and start sucking their dicks and say, take some money if you want to lose. No, that's not how it go.
Yeah.
They need to be on your knees begging, give me a fight. I'll fight anybody. I'll fight for nothing.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Let the world see me. I'll fight for nothing. I'll fight anybody.
Right.
From a fighter, you know, that's what I've seen. That's from my experience. You want to fight? That's what you want to do? Let me see it. Get them prepared. Don't just throw them in there. And he's not. Get them prepared. That's what you want to do. Let me see you. Let me see how beautiful you are. Let me see how much you love yourself. Let me see how much guts you have. Matter of fact, show the world. I'm putting the camera on you.
So the NBA has always been talked about as a place that players really love the league, whereas the NFL,
Yeah.
a place where the players are said they don't love the league. We want to be more like the NBA. You know,
Well, can I ask you, what
how
are
do you
your
square that with what you're saying? Do you
what
know
are
what I'm
your
saying?
policies on something like cannabis and CBD, and guys being able to use that as an alternative to
That
pills?
should be legal.
You know.
Legal.
That should be legal in the league.
So when I think about a player-friendly league, because I played in the NFL, and it's very much us versus them.
Right.
You know, and that sucks. And so to me, when you talk about a player-friendly league, it's really interesting to hear Mike's perspective on that.
Yes.
You know, and I think that is true for any combat sport athletes. You know,
Very
you need to
interesting.
be, have your ass in the fire to some extent. Now, I think when I think about a player-friendly league, I start to think about, like you're saying, the NBA, and then you
Right.
start talking about drug policies. You start talking about all of that sort of ancillary things that affect a player or a fighter's day-to-day experience of being in business in a sport, you know? And I think that, so what are your guys' takes on those things?
Because, you know, the boxing and MMA are still governed by, you know, the state commissions, you know, and those rules.
Yeah.
You know, just like
All right, so I would do like this. If I'm fighting in a weed-friendly state, your guys don't have to be tested for weed, but you're going to be tested for steroids and all that other shit. You know, you're going to get the blood test and all that other shit. But weed, you're going to smoke all the weed you want if it's a weed-friendly state.
Yeah.
And
I
listen,
agree with that.
and fighters know they're not going to get too high when they're fighting.
Yeah.
It may not get high the day of the fight, may get high yesterday, the day before the fight, and not for today I'm not going to be high.
Yeah.
Most fighters don't get high, if
Yeah.
any get high the day of the fight of the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's a lot of good things happening. You know, WADA removed CBD, so CBD is allowed. The UFC's policy is really interesting to me. We had Jeff Nowitzki in here, who's their head of player or fighter health and well-being or performance, and he oversees all of that. And, you know, he sees the insanity of the cannabis rules. You know, I mean, guys taking punches to the head. You know, you're sustaining these traumatic brain injuries. Our federal government has done research and has a patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants. So they have seen and proven in scientific studies that cannabinoids, the chemical compounds found in this plant, actually help protect and heal the brain from traumatic brain injuries. You know, so it's obvious to me that this is something that fighters and football players should be allowed to consume to aid their recovery. The UFC, it just seems like guys can smoke and then they can't for a certain period of time before a fight. You know, I don't know what your guys.
Well, I think whether it's the NFL, the NBA, MMA, soccer, any sport, when you look at all changes, they always start with the athletes because there is no sport without the athletes.
I agree 100%.
So, you know, whether it was free agency in baseball, right? How did it start? With the athletes, right? The league never says, let me tell you what I think's a good idea. Free agency, right? You know, when you rewind the clock of all major changes, it always starts with player advocacy, then player leadership. So I believe that what you're talking about, that's the path where it will come from also, whether it's, you know, from sport X or sport Y.
I think
Well-
the greatest. I'm sorry. Please.
No, you go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna, I was gonna ask these guys if there's anything that people should know about or about the PFL happening right now. What do you guys have going on? What's the summer look like?
Yeah, I'll start, and then I'd like Ray to comment. A PFL season is 10 events, 6 regular season events. Each event's about 10, 12 fights. And 3 playoff events in October, and then the championship is always New Year's Eve, 7 p.m. to 11, live. So it gives you something to do, on New
Nice.
Year's Eve on TV, right? And so we just finished the first half of the regular season, so all fighters have fought one time. We'll start back in July with the second half of the regular season, where all fighters will be able to fight a second time. So once again, ESPN2 live in the United States, 140 countries around the world on local TV, each of those countries. But I would encourage people to follow PFL on Instagram, follow PFL on Facebook, follow PFL on Twitter, and say, what fighter do I love? What stories do I love? What are they fighting for? And whether
Who would you like to see him fight?
yeah, and, what can you really become part of? Because this is a place where you can really come to follow their stories and engage in their journeys, which you can't when it's just a one-off event. So we all love a Mayweather, McGregor, or a Khabib fight. Those mega fights
Right.
are like watching Mike Tyson in his day. We all watch those. But the PFL allows you to have that context and narrative of the stories because it is a season. And so I would encourage people to kind of, now that we're just halfway done with the regular season, tune in and say, who is going to become a real world Rocky? These guys fight between $10,000 to $25,000 a fight. 6 of them are going to become a world champion this year, and they're each going to earn $1 million. That is a real world Rocky story. And if you like that movie, it actually plays out in real world.
That'd be pretty awesome.
I dig the format.
Yeah, thank you.
I dig that.
And Ray, why don't you just give them like the 2 or 3 fights or
Ray,
that you're really looking forward to, because you've recruited all these guys from scratch, and nobody knows talent like you.
Not to mention, you look like you could whip some ass.
He could probably beat all of them, right? Still.
Yeah.
No, we just had last Thursday. We just had the heavyweights and the light heavyweights go. That part of the season I was looking forward most to, because the heavyweights and the light heavyweights.
Yeah.
And I think
Big
I
guys.
kind of exactly. I think I jinxed myself, because I said that we were going to have probably about 8 or 10 finishes, and we had 5. So, which wasn't bad. That being said, though, the PFL 4. July 11th is the women's 55 division, lightweight division, and the men's welterweight division. And again, Ray Cooper, as we saw it, up there, he's going to be fighting on their card. There's a few other guys, from all over the world, from Russia, from Brazil, that came out, and Mavli, who actually, the world saw through SportsCenter the flying knee that he was able to finish his opponent with. And so, we've got a lot of good young talent that we saw there. And so, for me, it's because it's the season, I look forward to every fight. And so, just to see who comes through, how they attack the second fight, and so on. And so, it's exciting. Round 2 starts July 11th.
So
awesome.
I would just leave you with 2 thoughts. I think these champions were eager for the Mike Tyson challenge. So we'll put up $1 million in each weight class
That's
for these
pretty
champions
awesome.
against UFC
yeah.
and Bellator. So all you got to do is get Coker and Dana White. Just let me know. But then second thought is,
Call him out. We're right here, man.
we're right here.
Listening.
Call
We're right
him
here.
out.
Now I'm going
Listening.
to let Mike do this.
Oh man, come on! Come on, do this, Dana. That keep
Dana,
talking to you,
Scott,
let's
Scott.
go.
Listen to this shit, man.
All right.
Come on, have
Let's
some balls,
go.
man. Go at this shit, man.
Scott Coker, Dana White, on behalf of Mike Tyson, we're glad to put up $1 million for each of the PFL champions this year against your best fighters in those weight classes for a 2020 pay-per-view event, PFL, Bellator, UFC. Mike will be there.
Yes.
That sounds nice.
Mike's
I'll
cage
fucking
side.
be there.
Yeah. All right, now.
You'll introduce him,
Yeah,
right?
hit
Okay.
fucking Cock and Steve. Scott.
Yeah, Scott Coker's in on that.
Yeah, Scott.
He's in on that. The other thing I'd like to think everybody should watch is Kayla Harrison. Kayla Harrison.
But tell me this: do you think the other
guys are going to do it?
Do you think they take you serious?
Yeah, they know. Look, they know we're serious, but they're not going to do that.
Why not? Why don't you think?
Well,
they
their
do?
guys. What
They
if
don't
their-
want their guys
What
to
if
get
their guys are going to
ass kicked.
lose,
Well,
Mike?
Mike,
What if their guys lose?
Some
if you look at
balls.
boxing, for example,
Yes.
how long did it take for WBC, WBA,
yeah.
IBF
Yeah.
to even, unify the titles?
Took years,
I
10
think
years. Yeah,
exactly.
know why?
Like
Because
years and years.
Everybody
Wow.
had their own little island, and
Right.
everybody's
Right.
making money.
Right.
And now once your star lose, now you got to start from scratch again. But you
Right.
still got the money, but you could build another star. But once your star lose, if he doesn't lose so dramatically, we can fight again. If they're interesting fights, competitive fights,
They're
we can
great.
keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting.
That's right.
Until they get married.
That's right. And look, we deeply
You know, they fight so much they become good friends. That's what happened with fight. They have so many fights they become friends.
Look, UFC has the best fighters in the world. We don't pretend to have the best fighters in the world. What we're saying is our fighters are damn good, and some of them can beat their fighters. That's what we're saying.
Really?
And look, here's the analogy I would do. Julius Erving wasn't playing in the NBA. He didn't have a place to play basketball in the 60s. And neither did a lot of great basketball players. There weren't enough teams, and the ABA was formed.
Yeah.
There are not enough places in the UFC and not enough cards for great fighters to fight. The UFC is a great organization, and they have great fighters. There's just not enough outlets right now for the great fighters, and that's why the PFL exists.
Dana, if you're hearing this stuff, Scott, you have to hear this shit.
Let's
He
fucking
says,
go.
he says his fighters can fuck your fighters up.
Don't be scared.
No, I don't think they're scared. This is the first open invitation you're giving them.
Reproachment.
Okay.
This the first one?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
reproachement.
Yes, reproachment.
Out of respect.
Out of respect. Reproachment. That's a French word or
Yes,
something?
I don't know.
Reproach mom.
Reproachment. Reproachment.
But I'll tell you a real challenge, Mike. Here's
Yeah.
a real challenge
What?
that is everybody would love to see.
Yeah.
Kayla Harrison, who's a PFL fighter,
Yes.
155 pound,
Yes.
two-time judo gold medal winner.
Yes.
Ronda Rousey, you've heard of,
Yes.
won bronze once.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's how good Kayla Harrison's
Right.
good to be. Other than Chris Cyborg or Amanda Nunes,
Then she should fight Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg was here.
Correct.
Chris Cyborg's looking for a fight.
that's the fight. If you want to say what's the fight that would be interesting to everyone in the world,
Love
Chris
that.
and Kayla. Chris and Kayla. That's
Well,
the
listen,
fight.
in boxing, sometimes, you know what happened in boxing? Sometimes the guys got two different guys. They said, let's make the fight and we deal with it in court. They may hold up the money and everything. Let's just have the fight and we deal with it in court.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm telling you, that's a fight. Now, look, Chris has got 25 fights on her in terms of experience. Kayla's quite new, but Kayla's bigger and stronger. That's the fight.
Time. Then that's not fit. It has to be the same weight.
Wow, that's a early 2020 fight.
Yeah,
That's
but they got to
ready.
be the same weight, though. They got to be the same weight. They can't
but
be
remember,
bigger. Nobody can be bigger, right?
As Ray,
Right?
no, as Ray will
they
tell
got
you,
the same
look,
weight.
Chris has fought at 145, but she's always said she's glad to move to 155. She's always said that.
Okay, we got to get her back in here.
Yeah.
We had Chris. We got to get her back
we
in
had-
here.
All right,
Chris.
but you just got me riffing on potential UFC, PFL, interesting fights for fans. We're just
Yeah.
thinking about the MMA
Yeah,
fans.
it's great, man.
Keep on going.
Good stuff.
That's
What
it.
else you
Deep
got?
respect. Look,
Anything else? Got anything else?
hey, if the PFL could build a business as great and as successful as the UFC, we'd love that.
Awesome, man. But come on, you got to talk more shit, man.
Nah.
You got to talk about who y'all kicking ass, man. We want to hear about kicking fucking ass over here. You know, you talking, well, if it's okay, you think we can get a chance to be in your life? No, fuck, you got to be out there. We're going to kill your motherfucker.
I'm out of there. I'm on this side of it.
Look at this.
I've never been a shit talker.
That's the reason why Ray's got me sitting next
Yeah,
to
and
you,
he's
Mike.
like this. Theoretically speaking, I believe it's a possibility that we can win this fight.
Now Mike's messing with me.
Mike's promoted a few fights.
Now Mike's got me going. He's got me going.
Man,
Yeah, that's
Classic.
pretty funny.
That's it.
John, you're doing.
So
you're
July
killing it,
11th.
man.
That's my
July
final
11th
word.
is your
July
final-
11th, ESPN2, Thursday night. Remember,
Awesome.
if it's Thursday,
and don't keep
it's
put out-
MMA night.
Put out that $1 million challenge again to keep that flowing, because that's going to keep people blood.
Will you put that on
boiling.
your social too?
Absolutely.
Kayla Harrison, Chris Cyborg,
Yeah.
fucking 2020. Let's go.
Right. July 11th, ESPN2. If it's Thursday, it's PFL MMA night on ESPN2.
Come on.
Go.
Let's just work this shit out, and we're gonna get.
And the
Dana-
Mike Tyson
and let-
$1 million weight class challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let Chris make $1
Now
million.
that we've got
before
our
she can,
work done, let's
you know,
get
be
lunch.
happy and
Yeah.
stuff.
Nice. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
I appreciate it. Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it,
us.
man.
Thank you.
Don,
Thanks for
thank you,
getting us
brother.
in trouble, Mike.
Why you in
You're the
trouble?
man.
Why you in trouble? Why you
Ah.
scared, man? You can't win with scared money. You can't win money, man. You gotta tell a motherfucker, fuck you, motherfucker. My
I'm
bitch
gonna work
gonna
on
beat
that.
your bitch
I'm
ass.
going to work on that.
I talk shit, man. Nobody's gonna come with you some fucking you can't do it, man. Right? It's no
Yeah.
fucking way,
You
man.
gotta go all out. You gotta go all out. That's it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you,
Fucking-
guys.
You fucking from the Jewish debating team or
No,
something,
man.
man? What the fuck you doing? Chill out. You gotta talk
Wait,
shit,
so
man.
PFL on
Talk
Instagram,
shit.
Twitter, all your social handles,
Yep.
PFL.
Yep.
Check 'em out.
Yep. PFL MMA on Instagram.
Thursday nights, ESPN2.
ESPN2.
Check it out.
And ESPN
PFL
Plus.
night, fight night. Great having you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Love,
Good luck,
guys.
Shane.
Good
Love
luck, man.
everything.
Appreciate it,
Good
Mike.
luck with everything. Lots of positivity
Good luck.
and power to
Thank
you
you.
guys. All right,
Peace.
everybody. Mike, great up.
Hey, this is an
Lots of
awesome
fun.
episode, man. It was fun. The fucking challenges was out. This is fucking groovy. I love this podcast. Take us home, baby. Take
Hey,
us home.
brother. That's a great one. Lots of love to you guys. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, on Spotify, all those platforms. Check out our merchandise on hotboxingpodcast.com. Until next time, I'm Eben Britton. We're
And
out
I'm Mike
here.
Tyson. Peace.
Peace.
Mike, so okay if I did an Instagram thing real quick?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Do it,
Good
brother.
shit, nigga.
Hey, you take a picture?